Samantha had always been known for her kindness and strong sense of justice, especially at Riverside Coffee, a small coffee shop nestled in the heart of town. As a 35-year-old woman, she managed the place with heart and soul, having worked there for 6 years. Unlike most people her age, who were chasing high-paying careers in the city, Samantha had found fulfillment in her job at the coffee shop. It wasn't just about the work itself, but about the people she served. Riverside Coffee was more than just a place for a morning caffeine fix. It was a gathering spot for the local community, especially for veterans who had served at the nearby Marine base. Samantha's father, a retired Marine, had been her inspiration. He had always struggled with PTSD after his tours, and it was a local coffee shop that had helped him find peace in his difficult moments. The bonds that veterans shared over a cup of coffee had meant the world to her father, and Samantha made her mission to carry that torch. From the beginning, her customers noticed how she remembered every detail about them, what they ordered, which family members were serving overseas, and the names of their pets. In fact, Samantha had a notebook behind the counter where she kept track of all the important details. She was always careful to ensure everyone, especially veterans, felt welcome and heard. Her commitment to the community extended beyond just the regulars who visited. It also meant a special connection with veterans who came in with service dogs. She had seen firsthand how much service dogs helped those struggling with PTSD. Like her father, the idea of dogs being recognized as service animals was still new, but Samantha understood their value. Every Wednesday, she hosted what she called Veterans Coffee Hour, where veterans could gather and share stories, support each other, and bond. It started with just a few regulars, but soon grew into a group of over 20 veterans. Samantha's connection to these veterans went beyond just being a barista. She became a friend, someone who truly understood their struggles. One of the regulars, James, had been coming to Riverside Coffee for over 2 years. When he first started visiting, he was a shadow of the man he once was. His voice barely a whisper, his movements jittery. His service dog, Max, stayed close to him, always by his side, providing comfort and stability. But as time passed and James felt the support of the other veterans, especially through Samantha's efforts, he slowly began to open up. He could speak more easily, smile a little more often, and find comfort in the camaraderie that blossomed at Riverside Coffee. Then, one fateful morning, everything changed. The health inspector, Mr. Thompson, arrived. Known for his strictness, Mr. Thompson had already shut down several businesses that month. He was a stickler for rules, no matter the circumstances. When James walked in with Max, as he always did, the inspector immediately spotted the dog and was livid. "You can't have dogs in here," he snapped, his face turning crimson. "It's a health code violation. This place is shutting down immediately." Samantha watched as James froze, his body tensing up, just as her father had done in similar situations. Her heart dropped. Without hesitation, Samantha stepped forward, trying to calm the situation. "Sir," she said firmly, "Max is a registered service dog. The ADA laws clearly state that service animals are allowed in food establishments." Mr. Thompson, however, wasn't having it. "I don't care about any laws," he growled. "Either that dog leaves, or I shut this place down." The district manager, who had come along to oversee the inspection, looked horrified but said nothing. Samantha knew what she had to do. "I won't apologize for following federal law," she said, standing her ground. "My father was a Marine, and he taught me that doing what's right matters more than keeping your job." The district manager, obviously furious, shouted, "Then you don't have a job anymore." He pointed to the back. "You're fired. Clear out your locker." Samantha was stunned. 6 years of hard work, dedication, and love for this place. It was all gone in an instant. With a heavy heart, she grabbed her things, the weight of the situation settling in. Rent was due next week. She didn't have a backup plan, and everything she had built was crumbling. But then something happened. A low rumble filled the air, followed by another, then another. The ground seemed to shake beneath her feet. She frowned, walking toward the door, her confusion growing. When she looked outside, her breath caught in her throat. The parking lot was full of Marines, serious, uniformed, and standing in line. At the front of the group was Colonel James Parker, marching straight toward the door. Samantha couldn't believe her eyes. What they didn't know was that a customer had filmed the entire incident. The customer's spouse was married to the base commander, and within minutes, the video had spread across the base like wildfire. Colonel James Parker walked toward the door with an air of authority, his uniform crisp and sharp. The Marines behind him were in perfect formation, their eyes focused and their presence commanding. Samantha's heart skipped a beat as she watched them approach. The sound of boots hitting the pavement echoed in the parking lot, and the sheer power of the scene sent a ripple of tension through the air. As Colonel Parker reached the door, he stopped, and without hesitation, he walked straight up to Mr. Thompson and the district manager. The colonel's voice rang out in the quiet of the coffee shop. "Gentlemen," he said, his tone steady and commanding, "I believe we need to have a discussion about our veterans." The district manager, still seething with anger, couldn't find the words to respond. Mr. Thompson, who had been so certain of his power in this situation, now looked like a deer caught in the headlights. The room fell silent. The Marines stood behind Colonel Parker, their presence a solid wall of support. Colonel Parker wasn't just any Marine, and Max wasn't just any service dog. James, who had been sitting quietly in the corner, had served his country with distinction. He wasn't just another veteran. He had earned a Silver Star for valor during his service. Max, his German Shepherd, was a specially trained service dog that had been part of a program the Marine Corps had initiated for veterans suffering from PTSD. This program was Colonel Parker's brainchild, and it had been a labor of love for him. With a calm but firm motion, Colonel Parker reached for his phone and made one phone call to the State Health Department. Within moments, the situation took a dramatic turn. Mr. Thompson was reassigned to a different district, and the district manager was sent for immediate training on how to deal with service animals and the laws surrounding them. But the Marines weren't finished. Colonel Parker turned to Samantha, his expression softening. "Miss Mitchell," he began, "we've been looking for someone to run a new veteran outreach program at the base. Someone who understands customer service, but more importantly, someone who understands what it means to stand up for what's right." He paused, locking eyes with her. "The job is yours if you want it." Samantha could hardly believe what she was hearing. Here she was, standing at the center of a storm, only moments ago fired from the place she had poured her heart into. And now, a colonel in the Marine Corps was offering her a job she never imagined. The news spread quickly. Military communities across the country heard about what had happened at Riverside Coffee. The story of how a simple act of kindness, standing up for a veteran and his service dog, had turned the tide and led to a change in the course of events, was exactly the kind of thing that resonated deeply in the heart of every military family. The video of the incident, filmed by the customer, went viral, bringing with it a wave of support from both veterans and their families. It wasn't long before the corporate office of Riverside Coffee had reached out with an apology for the way things had gone down. But they didn't just apologize, they took action. The company launched a new program aimed at supporting service dog training for veterans, and they offered Samantha a directorial position. It was a chance for her to help lead a movement, not just for the veterans in her community, but for veterans everywhere. The next Wednesday, Samantha stood behind the counter, refilling coffee cups as she watched James take his seat at the table with his fellow veterans. It had been weeks since the incident with Mr. Thompson, but the changes in Riverside Coffee were unmistakable. The wall of photos behind the counter, once a small tribute to the veterans who frequented the shop, had grown. Now, every photo was accompanied by a picture of the veteran's service dog. The coffee shop had become a sanctuary for veterans, a place where they could share their stories, find support, and bond with others who truly understood. James, who had once been so quiet and withdrawn, was now a vocal member of the coffee hour group. As he spoke about his experiences during his first deployment, his voice was shaky at first, but with each passing word, he grew stronger. Max, ever faithful, stayed close by his side, and the other veterans nodded in understanding. They had all been through the same struggles. One older Marine, a regular at the coffee hour, reached over and gently patted James on the shoulder. "Welcome home, brother," he said softly. Samantha watched the scene unfold in front of her, a lump in her throat. This was why she had loved her job in the first place. The sense of community, the opportunity to make a difference, and the chance to give back to those who had sacrificed so much. As she refilled the coffee cups, she knew that, despite the difficult road she had faced, everything had led her to this moment. The coffee shop, under Samantha's leadership, had become a model for other businesses in the area. The special welcome area for service dogs and their handlers was just one of the changes that set Riverside Coffee apart. Samantha's leadership extended beyond the coffee shop now. Her position as a director of the Veteran Outreach Program and the Service Dog Initiative had put her in the spotlight, and she used it to create a more inclusive and supportive environment for veterans. As for James and Max, they still came in every morning. But now they weren't alone. The shop was filled with veterans and their service dogs, each one with a story to tell, a journey of sacrifice and healing. The wall of photos behind the counter grew with each passing month, and at the center of it all was a picture of Samantha's father, the Marine who had inspired her to always do what was right. Beneath the photo, a sign read, "All who serve welcome, 2 legs or 4. And as for the district manager who had fired her, well, he had a change of heart. After receiving some much-needed training, he started working alongside Samantha to help other businesses understand the importance of supporting service animals and the veterans who rely on them. Samantha's father had always told her that doing the right thing wasn't always easy. That day, she proved him right. But she also proved something else. When you stand up for the right people will stand up for you. The success of the Veterans Outreach Program under Samantha's leadership didn't just stop at Riverside Coffee. It became a beacon of hope and change for other communities across the country. The work that she had started, fueled by a simple act of standing up for what was right, was quickly gaining traction. Businesses, organizations, and local governments took notice. The conversation around supporting veterans and service animals was no longer something just discussed in small circles. It was now becoming a nationwide movement. Samantha had always believed in the power of community, but now she saw firsthand how much difference one individual could make when they were willing to stand up for others. She saw it in the faces of the veterans who came to Riverside Coffee every week, in their eyes when they spoke about their struggles and victories, their pain and healing. Every Wednesday morning, the coffee hour had become more than just a social gathering. It was a lifeline for many. It was a reminder that they weren't alone, that there was a place where people truly understood what they had been through. Over time, Riverside Coffee became synonymous with veteran support. People from all walks of life came to the shop, not just for the coffee, but for the stories, for the chance to contribute to a cause greater than themselves. Some offered donations, some volunteered their time, and others simply came to show their support. Each person, in their own way, was contributing to the larger mission. Samantha's new role as the director of the Service Dog Initiative and Veteran Outreach Program also meant that she could make a broader impact. She worked tirelessly to improve the lives of veterans with PTSD by providing them access to the service dogs they so desperately needed. She partnered with local organizations that specialize in dog training for veterans, ensuring that those who struggle with mental health challenges had the support they needed. She also worked to make sure businesses in the area understood the importance of service dogs and how to properly accommodate them. Training staff, raising awareness, and advocating for these veterans was a full-time job, but it was a job that Samantha was more than ready to take on. With each day, the program grew. Soon, Riverside Coffee wasn't just a local favorite. It had become a destination for veterans from all over the country. People would travel for miles to visit the shop and experience the welcoming environment that Samantha had created. They would share stories, swap advice, and offer support to one another. The coffee shop had transformed into a living, breathing community, one that stood as a testament to what could happen when people came together with a common purpose. The Veterans Outreach Program didn't just stop at the coffee shop, though. Samantha began collaborating with the Marine base, local businesses, and even national organizations to raise awareness and provide resources for veterans. She helped to organize job fairs, therapy sessions, and support groups. She even started a mentorship program where veterans could offer guidance to each other, helping to bridge the gap between military service and civilian life. Meanwhile, James, who had once been a silent and withdrawn man, had blossomed into a leader in his own right. His journey of recovery had become a symbol of hope for others, showing them that it was possible to overcome even the darkest of times. Max, his ever-present companion, was now a familiar face at Riverside Coffee, greeting everyone with a wag of his tail and a comforting presence. James became one of the program's biggest advocates, sharing his story with anyone who would listen. He would stand in front of a group of veterans, telling them how much the program and the coffee shop had helped him find a new sense of purpose. One of the most heartwarming parts of the program was the impact it had on the families of the veterans. Many of them had struggled with the effects of PTSD, often feeling isolated and unsure of how to help their loved ones. But through the support of the coffee shop community, families began to reconnect. Parents, spouses, and children all found a place where they'd come together and support each other. The coffee shop became not just a sanctuary for veterans, but a safe space for their families as well. Samantha also made sure to continue her father's legacy. His picture still hung proudly in the center of the wall of photos, surrounded by the faces of the veterans who had passed through Riverside Coffee's doors. The sign underneath his photo, "All who serve welcome, 2 legs or 4, was a constant reminder of the importance of standing up for others, regardless of the challenges that might come with it. Every time she looked at that wall, Samantha was reminded of why she did what she did. It wasn't just about coffee or even about the job. It was about something much bigger, making sure that the people who had given so much of this country were never forgotten and always treated with the respect and dignity they deserved. In the end, the impact of Samantha's actions rippled far beyond Riverside Coffee. It wasn't just about the veterans she had helped or the service dogs she had supported. It was about the larger message of kindness, respect, and standing up for what's right. She had proved that one person, when driven by compassion and a sense of justice, could change the world. Her story had come full circle, from being fired for doing the right thing to becoming a leader in the veteran community. Samantha had found her true calling. It wasn't about climbing the corporate ladder or chasing fame. It was about using her platform to help those in need and give back to the community that had given so much to her. And as for the district manager who had fired her, he now worked alongside Samantha, helping to train other businesses on how to properly accommodate service dogs. Samantha had shown him, and everyone else, that sometimes the biggest lessons in life come from our biggest mistakes. But even more than that, she had proven that standing up for the right people could change everything. If you love this story, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel for more. You won't want to miss the next video currently on your screen. See you next time.